But Clarence Ray Allen is one of the murderers I want to focus on because he demonstrates something that I alluded to previously. This guy was an old fart. I mean, they often age considerably in prison, but he was old when he committed his first murder. He was born in January of 1930. He died a day after his 76th birthday on January 17, 2006. He had planned a burglary of a market in Fresno in 1974 and was subsequently convicted of it. Of the murder, that is to say that he enlisted a little group, and one of those group's jobs was to distract a young man who was employed as a family member in this family market. It's called Fran's Market. And when she spilled the goods to the young man whose family had been victimized, Clarence Ray Allen, in effect, put out a contract on her. And they tried to drown her, and they wound up strangling her and tossed her in a river in the Fresno area, and I don't think her body was ever found. He was convicted of that murder. He didn't do that, but he directed it.
Yes.
And so while he's sitting in prison, he puts out the word to a guy named Hamilton, who gets released, to go take care of the people who testified against him. And Hamilton did. And I think 3 others were killed as a result of this thing. And so Clarence Ray Allen, along with a long previous history of felonious behavior, was responsible for the deaths of 4 people. He was eminently deserving of execution. And we lose good people every day. And it doesn't bother me at all that we lose vermin like him. Looked like he had a question there.
So did he get the death penalty, or did he get life in prison?
He got the death penalty.
Okay.
Because there is, in the legislation, one of the special circumstances for death penalties if you've been convicted of first-degree second-degree murder in the past. And as rare as that probably sounded when it was enacted into law, he fit the bill.
Yeah.
He would also fit the bill because there were multiple victims. He, like Charlie Manson, whose death penalty verdict was knocked out by a U.S. Supreme Court, never touched anybody, but he directed. Yeah.
Yes.
The first, along with, I'll go with these in alphabetical order. After Allen, there's Robert Alton Harris, who is somebody I wanted to focus on because I wanted to put a human face on these sons of bitches. And he was the first guy to be executed by lethal injection, I believe. And there had been like a 16-year hiatus, and he was executed in 1992. And the case got some notoriety because he was denied clemency by Governor Pete Wilson. And he and his 18-year-old brother had been down in the San Diego area and had planned to hold up a San Diego Trust and Savings Bank. They came upon a 15-year-old named Majewski and his 16-year-old friend named Baker. They were sitting there at LTD and eating hamburgers from Jack in the Box. This guy took them out, commandeered the car, and killed them both. And the story at the time, I suspect it's not apocryphal, was that he finished the Jack in the Box hamburgers
I remember the
and
story.
laughed about it.
Yes, I remember the
And
story.
he was arrested with his brother after pulling the bank job, and they stole $3,000. And one of the people who arrested him was the father of one of the boys who had been murdered. He had a long history. He started by torturing kittens when he was a juvenile. And we're glad, and I'm glad, that he's gone, and we don't miss him. Another case that got a great deal of notoriety is the case of one Stanley Tukey Williams. And it got notoriety because in sort of slipshod reporting, you would hear in conjunction with Stanley Tukey Williams, oh, he was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, you look into that, it doesn't take much. Some left-wing legislator over there makes the nomination, and that gets passed on in every story about Stanley Tukey Williams. He founded the Crips, and the Crips are a cancer. And he was responsible for shotgunning a fellow at a stop-and-go market. And the next day, or the next night, he goes into an undistinguished motel down in the Los Angeles area and executed, I think, the Taiwanese immigrant in '76 and his 63-year-old wife, and he killed them both. He killed their daughter who was there. So he was good for 4 of them. And oh, lo and behold, he changed the story. He was writing children's books against gangs and stuff like that. Well, if you look into it, the children's books were privately published, didn't get any notoriety, whatever. And who cares anyway? You're a murderer.
In the scheme of things.
Yeah, who cares? And that's what I come back to.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to be dust. Good people die all the time. And the fact that we've whacked 13 of these sons of bitches since 1992 is of no great moment. I'm a big fan of the comedian Ron White, who says in Texas, where he comes from, we have the death penalty and we use it. And I believe that. And I believe in it. So.
Do you know what the cost is?
Well, the cost.
As opposed to, say, life in prison?
I think I
If you
read
know it.
here somewhere that it was $34,000 a year
Mm-hmm.
to house an inmate. The cost for an execution is nominal. I mean, people are being paid their usual fees or hourly wage, whatever you'd like to call it. The cost comes from the legal work that's done on behalf of the condemned, paid for by taxpayers invariably.
And the years in the appeals.
In the years in the appeals, the
Takes.
generating, the churning paper and hours and time. And that's where the cost comes from. I don't care. We waste enormous amounts of money within state government, local government, federal government. And this is important. I mean, this tells vermin that we condemn you. You're not fit to be among us. And it tells all the other vermin who see this occur, this is what happens. This is the state saying, you're not fit. You're gone. And it doesn't bother me one iota. Not one whit.